In the middle of a bustling city, Barron Trump spots a man in trouble. His next move? A moment of true compassion you won't forget. The sun was relentless, beating down on Manhattan like it had a grudge. The air shimmered with heat, making the towering skyscrapers seem like they were swaying. People clutched water bottles and wiped sweat from their foreheads, rushing to escape the oppressive weather. Yet, not everyone had the luxury of stepping away. Jonathan Cruz, a street cleaner in his mid-40s, worked steadily, pushing his cart along a busy sidewalk. His shirt clung to his back, soaked through, but he didn't stop. Jonathan believed his work mattered, even if most people passed by without noticing. The streets had to be clean. It was his way of contributing to the city he loved. On the other side of the street, Barron Trump was walking with purpose. At 18, he carried himself with a quiet confidence, blending into the crowd despite being one of the most recognizable young faces in the country. He had a meeting to attend but was in no hurry to draw attention to himself. As he passed shop windows and hurried pedestrians, something caught his eye: a man bent over, gripping his knees. Jonathan Cruz tried to shake off the dizziness creeping up on him. He had been out in the sun all day, and the water bottle he'd brought was empty hours ago. His vision blurred, and before he could steady himself, he collapsed, his broom clattering to the ground. A few people glanced over, but quickly looked away. It was the city. Everyone assumed someone else would step in. Barron noticed the man's fall and slowed his pace. His first instinct was to keep moving. He wasn't sure what was happening or if he could even help. But something in his gut told him he couldn't just walk away. Barron crossed the street quickly, pushing through the small group of onlookers. He knelt beside the man and realized how serious the situation was. The man's face was pale, his breathing shallow. Barron looked up at the crowd. "We need help. Call 911, he shouted, but no one moved. Barron grabbed his phone and called 911 himself, giving the dispatcher the location and describing the man's condition. He stayed calm, though his heart was racing. "It's heat exhaustion," he told the dispatcher, repeating what he'd read in an article about summer emergencies. "Please send an ambulance quickly." Turning to the crowd, he pointed to a shopkeeper watching from the doorway. "Do you have water?" The man hesitated, then disappeared into the shop. Moments later, he returned with a bottle. Barron poured some water into his hand and gently patted Jonathan's face, trying to cool him down. The man stirred, his eyes barely opening. "I'll be fine," Jonathan whispered weakly. "Just give me a minute." "You need more than a minute," Barron said firmly. "Help is on the way. Stay with me." A bystander finally stepped forward. "What can I do?" she asked nervously. "Wave down the ambulance when it gets here," Barron replied. "We can't waste a second." The sound of the ambulance siren in the distance brought relief. Barron stayed focused, keeping Jonathan awake and calm. He didn't let the heat or the murmurs of the growing crowd distract him. When the paramedics arrived, Barron quickly briefed them on what had happened. They worked efficiently, placing Jonathan on a stretcher and into the ambulance. One of them turned to Barron and said, "Good job. He's lucky you were here." The crowd, which had been watching silently, began clapping as the ambulance pulled away. Barron felt a mix of emotions: relief, gratitude, and maybe a little discomfort with the attention. He didn't feel like a hero. He had just done what anyone should do. Among the onlookers was a reporter who had captured the entire scene. "Can I get a comment?" she asked, holding up her phone. Barron hesitated, but then spoke. "It's not about me. It's about him, and everyone like him who works so hard for the city. We need to care more, especially in times like this." Jonathan Cruz recovered in the hospital, his condition improving thanks to the timely intervention. He later shared his gratitude in a short video from his hospital bed, calling Barron a lifesaver. The clip went viral, sparking conversations about the challenges faced by people in jobs like his. Barron, meanwhile, found himself in the spotlight. While he wasn't seeking recognition, he used the moment to bring attention to the working conditions of street cleaners and other outdoor laborers. He called for better support, especially during extreme weather. The incident also inspired a wave of goodwill. Local businesses began handing out water bottles to workers in the heat. Community groups organized drives to distribute cooling towels and other supplies. The city government took notice of the movement. Policies were proposed to ensure better protections for outdoor workers, including mandatory breaks and access to cooling stations. Barron attended one of the meetings where these measures were discussed, sitting quietly at the back. He wasn't there for recognition, he just wanted to see the impact of what had started as a single act of kindness. As he walked home that evening, he thought about Jonathan Cruz and the way one moment could ripple out to touch so many lives. It wasn't about being a hero, it was about seeing others and stepping in when it mattered. Share your thought about Barron's action in comment section below. Subscribe to our channel for soul-stirring stories.